I was pretty much born distracted and hyper. In fact, I was probably a textbook case for ADHD, if the textbook had been written, but it wasn't. So I was about 3 years old. My grandfather was over the house that day visiting. This is my mother's father. And I didn't really know him that well. He had died pretty early. But I was particularly in rare form that day. I was the poster child of a hyperactive kid. I was tearing the house apart, going up and down. I was tuned up. And he wasn't having it. And he got fed up. And he looked at me, and he looked at my mother, and he said, "That kid will never amount to anything." I mean, can you imagine predetermining a child's future at the age of 3 based off current behavior? But see, that's the problem. That happened back then. We didn't understand what was causing this behavior. We didn't understand ADD and children that learn differently. Now I think we got a better understanding of it, but back then, we didn't get it. Quite frankly, school wasn't my thing either. And it may have been if people knew how people like myself learned, but sadly they didn't, and we were just labeled distracted, disruptive, fidgety. When I was in junior high school, I ended up in a classroom setting that was called an open classroom. 7th and 8th graders, all on the same floor. No walls, just dividers. An absolute disaster for a kid with ADHD and easily distracted. It was an absolute disaster. I actually ended up in a special program to give extra help to students that needed it. And one day a week in the afternoon, they had me go down to a gas station to learn how to pump gas and do a couple other things. Apparently, they thought that I'd be pumping gas for the rest of my life, so I might as well get a head start in actually learning how to pump gas. After that, I ended up at a vocational high school because I actually thought that would be easier. You go to shop one week and classes the next week. Severe miscalculation on my part as I ended up flunking out of vocational school the first year. I graduated high school on time as a miracle to the education system, but I made a miscalculation. There was a time in life when I finally realized that if I wanted something, I needed to hyper-focus on it, and I had to have it. And I wasn't going to be that kid who was going to grow up and do nothing with their life. I learned the power of setting goals on my own. I started taking karate because I was tired of getting bullied and harassed and beat up. And I studied for 3 straight years. Almost every day I practiced. And I ended up going up for my first black belt. And I missed a couple things. And I flunked that test. I went home and I practiced every single day. And I went back in a week and I got my first black belt. I ended up getting my second black belt, and I was offered to buy into a school, a karate school. And I lost everything I own within a year, within 1 year. And I gotta tell you, there are some lessons you can't learn in school, and one of them is how to go in and out of business in less than a year. They don't teach you that, and the lessons you get from that. I knew that if I focused on something, I could get it. A new job, a promotion, change my career, money, enjoyment out of life. I bought a restaurant just outside of Boston. I built those revenues up tremendously, and when help got hard to find, I got rid of it and switched careers and ended up managing public relations for one of the most recognized charities on earth. I continue to set high goals for myself and ended up starting my own company again. You know, distractions are part of our life these days, from the mobile devices we're addicted to the next shiny thing in our business. But you know, one of the biggest distractions in life is not knowing where you're going and not having a clear path and direction. And the Japanese have a philosophy, and they call it the ikigai. And loosely translated, it's reason for being. And some Japanese believe that they know why they get up in the morning. They have a mission in life. They have a reason for being, a reason for getting up in the morning. And it has contributed to less stress, living longer, and a clear outlook on life, and less distractions. When I wrote the book Overcoming Distractions, I wanted to know what successful entrepreneurs that just happen to have ADHD did to become and stay successful and focused. And I found some very interesting things out. One was that it's not necessarily what you do at your desk to stay focused. In many cases, it's the things you do away from your desk that allow you to overcome distractions and stay focused. After interviewing countless successful entrepreneurs and others in business that have ADHD, I found a number of things that were in common that they use to overcome the distractions in business and in life. Some of them might not even be at your desk, like getting a good night's sleep, making sure exercise is built into your life, mindfulness techniques, maybe not so much traditional meditation, but maybe taking a walk around a lake, daily routines, making sure you had a routine, making sure you stuck to goals and deadlines, using your hyperfocus to your advantage. People with ADHD can hyperfocus. It's not such a bad thing. And making sure you work on your strengths and push off your weaknesses. Because there are things we are good at, and there are things that we hate and are not good at. And you have to make sure you do just that. I'm confident that the lessons I've learned from interviewing countless successful entrepreneurs can help anybody overcome distractions and stay focused. And I'd welcome the opportunity to share those lessons.